And welcome back to the David67 Celtic News YouTube channel. This is going to be an early Monday afternoon post-match review of Celtic's dramatic 3-2 win yesterday afternoon at Celtic Park against Motherwell. Puts us into second place, leading into what might well be a very important fixture away at Hearts in a few weeks' time, which of course would likely put Celtic back top of the table again, assuming that we beat Hearts in Edinburgh, which I think Celtic are very, very much able and capable of doing if they play anywhere near their better form, no matter even having to play at their best form. So in today's video, we're going to have a wee look at some of the key match incidents from yesterday's game, the goals, some stats, some player ratings for Brendan Rodgers, one or two other wee thoughts as we go through. So Celtic started slightly predictably. Brendan Rodgers kind of reverting to type as he so often does. In goals, Kasper Schmeichel, back four of Ralston, Carter Vickers and Scales. Sirachi starting in place of Kieran Tierney, who got a wee bit of a knock at the end of the game against Braga. In midfield, back to McGregor and Hatate, neither of whom have played at all well this season, and also giving yet another start to Luke McCowan, who has done well off the bench but has been pretty awful as a starter, and that was the case again yesterday. Out wide on the right, Dies Maida, out wide on the left, Chinyeki, and through the middle, Kelechi Iheanacho. And overall, looking at the whole performance, pretty average from Celtic. Very few players really getting above the 6 out of 10 mark. Many players much lower than that for me. And a couple of positives. Mikel Onge-Barlaquisha starting to fit into the team. Benjamin Negrin, really important and powerful coming off the bench. Kelechi Iheanacho showing a really good ability to score from the penalty. However, yet another poor performance in midfield. Yet another poor performance, I thought, from the two centre-backs. But in the end, a bit of fight shown by Celtic, getting themselves back into the game at 2-2, taking advantage of a terrible mistake in the Motherwell defence. And then for the last 15 minutes or so, Celtic were pretty much the only team looking like they were going to win. And so, although the performance was overall substandard, few shoots of recovery, Maida looking a bit better, Balaquisha starting to show some signs, Negrin showing his abilities in a more free role, and good performance again, I think, from Marcello Sirachi, and so some green shoots of recovery there. To be fair, Celtic actually started the game better than Motherwell. Motherwell defended well, hit on the counter-attack well, did have one or two wee nervy moments. Carter Vickers and Scales not really playing at their best. Celtic had a couple of wee half chances to score, but did actually open the scoring through through a Kelechi Iheanacho penalty in the 28th minute. Callum McGregor shooting for goal after a corner was cleared out to the edge of the box, clearly hit the Motherwell player on the extended arm, clearly a penalty kick, and Iheanacho very calmly dispatched the penalty, sending the goalkeeper the wrong way, and Celtic 1-0 up after 28 minutes. And unfortunately, in the 40th minute, Celtic gave away a very sloppy goal to Stamatolopoulos in the 40th minute. Ralston failed to clear it, then McCowan failed to clear it, McGregor failed to clear it. The ball was out wide on Celtic's left. Nice cross delivered in from the right wing. Quite what Carter Vickers and Scales were doing, I don't know, but they let Stamatolopoulos get in between them, and he stooped and headed a powerful header past Kasper Schmeichel, who had no chance, but terrible defending by Carter Vickers and by Scales. It appeared to be they both left Stamatolopoulos to each other. No communication, no good defending. A ball that should really have been cleared by one or the other of them. Stamatolopoulos should never have been allowed a free run. So massive errors by both those two defenders. And so 1-1 at half time, as is usually the Rodgers way. Absolutely nothing at all changed at half time. And Celtic came out exactly the same for the second half as they had the first. And indeed, Celtic went 2-1 down in the 56th minute. A penalty kick again by Stamatolopoulos. Referee initially didn't give a penalty, however, VAR called him over and he changed his mind. Did appear to be a little bit of contact by Sarachi on the Motherwell striker. However, absolutely no protests or claims by the Motherwell players, and I think they were as surprised as the Celtic players and the Celtic fans were when the VAR signalled an on-pitch review. There was a little bit of contact on the heel, probably not really enough to knock a player over, and it looked to me more like the Motherwell player kind of lost his balance more than anything else. However, in technical terms, probably a penalty kick, and the penalty kick was smashed past Kasper Schmeichel, who did slightly get an arm and an elbow to it, but he was too high and too powerful for him to stop. Celtic then made their usual triple substitution around about the 60th minute. Off came Hatate, Antoniecki and McCowan. On came Nygren, Forrest and Engels. And certainly the introduction of Benjamin Nygren did make quite a big difference to the team and the performance. He was much more busy than anybody else had done. He had a slightly mishit shot that missed the goal, forced a good save from the Motherwell goalkeeper, and then in the 69th minute got Celtic the equaliser. Celtic pressing the Motherwell defence, who were trying to pass their way out of defence from a bye kick. Goalkeeper hit the ball straight to Benjamin Nygren around about the penalty spot, and he smashed the ball left-footed past the Motherwell goalkeeper to go 2-2. And for that last 20 minutes or so, Celtic were pretty much the only team looking like they were going to win. Motherwell looked a bit tired. They kind of run all the energy out of their legs. They took off their main striker Stamatolopoulos and didn't look much of a threat in an attacking sense after that. And some good runs and moves by Mikel Onge-Barlaquisha, some nice passing from Nygren, a couple of nice passes from Engels, Maeda looking better through the middle than he had been on the right or the left, and indeed, nice pass from Engels through the defence, lovely chipped pass cross into the 6-yard box from Barlaquisha, and a lovely diving, powerful header by Daizen Maeda. And 2 minutes into added time, Celtic were leading 3-2, and they managed to hold on that lead for the last 5 minutes of added time and got a hard-fought 3-2 win over Motherwell and into second place in the league. Moving on to the stats for yesterday's game against Motherwell. I think the stats actually show that Celtic had a bit more control and a bit more chance creation, a bit more shots than many people gave them credit for. Motherwell did take control of midfield. They did hit well on the counter-attack. They did organise themselves well in defence. I do think they lost a bit of energy and momentum towards the end of the game after giving away that rather stupid Benjamin Nygren equaliser, trying to pass the ball out the back. So I think actually Celtic did a wee bit better than many people are giving credit for, although overall still quite a poor performance, not really having the creativity and killer touch in and around the opposition box. So possession was 62-38 in Celtic's favour. Shots were quite impressive, 16-5 in Celtic's favour, with 9 on targets to their 3 on targets, 1 off target and 1 blocked from Motherwell, and Celtic had 5 blocked, 5 off targets and 2 blocked. Touch in the box again, much in Celtic's favour, 40-15. Corners 10-0 for Celtic. Kasper Schmeichel 1 save, their goalkeeper 6 saves, and 4 shots from outside the box to 1 for Celtic. Again, showing Celtic were the better team, lots more possession, lots more chances in and around the box, but still struggling to put away those chances. But certainly did at some spells, particularly towards the end, get a lot of pressure on Motherwell. Moving on to ratings for Rodgers, giving him 5 out of 10. Another poor performance by Rodgers, not really in any way justifying his £3 and a bit million a year. I think it's pretty unfair to drop Colby Donovan, who has been playing well. Another start for Luke McCown doesn't make sense because he's not been starting games well. He's good when he comes on as a sub mostly. Negrin deserves more loyalty. He is our top scorer and our top assist creator, and so it does seem stupid to put him on the bench so often. So not great marks for his selections. Substitutions, I think the Negrin substitution worked obviously very well. Substitutions with Tierney and Balikwisha were fairly successful, although Engels and Forrest didn't add anything. And as is always the case with Rodgers, no real changes in the formation, the style, the tactics, the way that Celtic were playing. Didn't get the players fired up at half time. Didn't seem to be really firing up the players as they went to 1-1, 2-1 down, or when it went 2-2. And so he did make some substitutions, but it didn't really change the formation, the tactics, and a lot of it seemed to be moving Dijsselbijder from the right to the left and then to the middle. And it was more just putting in another player of the same sort into the same position without any changes being made. So overall, disappointing from Rodgers and 5 out of 10. In terms of my player ratings, gone with 6.5 for Kasper Schmeichel. Made one good save. Did get the ball out of his hand for by kicks and kickouts and throwouts much quicker. His distribution this time was better than it has been the last couple of games. Still not really back to his best of form, but hopefully the international break and a bit of time away from Celtic will get him back into his best game. So 6.5 for him. 6 for both Ralston and Sarachi. They did an okay job in defence. Generally controlled the wide players from both sides. Ralston didn't really get himself forward into midfield in the final third as much as he could have done or should have done. I think he lacks that bit of pace and ability in the midfield and the final third, unlike Donovan and Johnston. Sarachi did get himself forward, some good creativity moving into midfield in the final third, did have a shot on goal in the first half, and his rating would be a bit higher, but he did give away that penalty, so 6 for both of them. 5.5 for Carter Vickers, 5.5 for Scales. They don't really, for me, look like a very good partnership. Scales is getting a lot of good credit and praise from many Celtic fans. For me, he's too slow, his distribution's poor, he gets out-muscled by strong centre-forwards, outpaced by quick centre-forwards and strikers, and this was the same again yesterday, and Carter Vickers and Scales did a pretty poor job controlling Stamatolopatis, the sole striker from Motherwell, and also they were generally poor covering any runs into the box, as was exposed with the first goal that Motherwell scored and also the move that led to the penalty kick. So 5.5 for both of them. 5.5 also for Callum McGregor. Pretty disappointed with his performance. Didn't really captain the side, didn't really fire things up when it went back to 1-1 or when it went to 2-1 down. Didn't really fire things up when Sutton got back to 2-2 and didn't really lead by example. His passing wasn't that great. He broke up a few attacks, but generally his distribution was negative, backwards, lateral. Rarely did he get the ball forward with any pace. Rarely did he get the wide players or the attacking players involved. And apart from the shot on goal that led to the penalty, not really contributing much in that case either. And quite often his lateral slow passing lost us the advantage in the final third. 5 for Rio Hatate, pretty poor performance by him. Can't really think of terribly many creative or positive things he did in the match. So 5 for him. 4.5 for Luke McCown. Yet another terrible start for Luke McCown. He doesn't play well for Celtic as a starter. Plays much better for coming on 10-15 minutes at the end. Although Rodgers seems determined to keep on starting him in the side. And much like Hatate, didn't really do anything positive. 6.5 for Dies Maida. Some good runs on down the right, some good runs down the left. Lost possession rather a lot on both sides. His delivery into the box on both sides was rather poor. However, did I think play a that bit better when he played through the middle the last 10-15 minutes, and of course did take that goal very well to give Celtic the win. 6 for Kelechi Iheanacho. Thought it was a pretty poor performance by him, although he did smack away that penalty kick to give us the lead initially, but otherwise didn't really get himself involved much in the box, not really got in much in the way of chances, didn't create much for himself up front either. So 6 for him and 6 for Chinyeki. Disappointing performance by Chinyeki. I think because opposition know that so much is coming through Chinyeki, they're now double teaming him, and that seemed to nullify him and stop him quite a bit. One or two nice runs and passes and crosses, but not really anywhere near his best. In terms of the subs, I've given 7 and man of the match to Benjamin Negrin. He made a real difference when he came on. Had a shot well saved by the goalkeeper, another shot that skewed wide, and of course scored the goal to put Celtic 2-2. Kieran Tierney and Mikel Onge-Balaquisha, I think they both made a bit of a positive influence when they came on as subs. Nice few runs by Balaquisha, some good general stability in defence and passing out of defence from Tierney. Lovely cross by Mikel Onge-Balaquisha for the Maida goal, and he's starting to show one or two positive signs. So 6.5 for both of them. 4.5 for James Forrest. Pretty useless performance yet again. Very, very rare that he did anything positive or creative or with any pace yesterday. So 4.5 for him and 5.5 for Engels. Would have been 5, but for his super ball for Balaquisha, which led to the third and winning goal. Some of the squad go off on international duty. 9 of our team are away on international duty the next week, 10 days. We've also got Colby Donovan away on Scotland under 21 duty. We've got a couple of our players out on loan, also going away on under 21 international duty. Lewis Palma, who of course is still a Celtic player, on loan. He's going away for Honduras international duties. And there are also a few ex-Celtic players in the under 21 squad for Scotland who Celtic have let go and have now moved to other clubs permanently. So I think this does give Celtic a chance to reset, reboot, and get themselves all back on an even keel. It does give Rodgers and the coaching staff a week, 10 days to get club morale, team spirit, etc. Back on the road, get the players more confident. I think there were some signs of positive recovery in the game against Motherwell. A performance I would grade as a 5 or a 5.5 out of 10 as a team performance, which is reflected in so many of the players having match ratings under 6 and only a couple getting over 6 in terms of their match ratings. And so overall, mediocre performance, but in the end, 3 points and a positive result, and into second place in the league, and a couple of good results, and Celtic will be nice and clear at the top of the table once we get a couple of weeks after the international break. And I'm really hoping that Rodgers and the players who are staying at Lennoxtown, and then when all the others come back off international duty for a few days prior to the Dundee match, hopefully they can get everything back to the way it should be on and off the pitch at Celtic and on and off the training ground at Celtic as well. That finishes things off for today's post-match review video. No other real news stories to report at the moment. We'll be doing a few update videos through the week. And also we've got the Thursday evening live stream, which is currently penciled in for 9 o'clock, although I might extend that to a later start, dependent on what day Scotland are playing internationally this week. And as always, as we finish off, just a wee polite suggestion, encouragement for those not yet subscribed to the channel. Please do click that subscriber button. Even one new subscriber per day makes me so happy. And as always, do pop your own thoughts regarding the performance, the players, Rodgers, the tactics, etc., into the comment section for a nice wee chat, debate, opinion sharing amongst like-minded Celtic fans in the comment section. So do pop your comments there. And so until the next video, goodbye and hail, hail.